Matt and Brianna here. This is our first YouTube video. We are kind of doing like a lifestyle kind of thing, what we're doing in the big New York City. Our video is going to have a lot of different kind of topics. Stay tuned and see what's coming up in the future. But right now we're just going to jump right into it, and our first one we're going to talk about is some things we learned about when we made the move to New York City. We've been here for about a year now, and so we just want to share with anybody that may be making the move as well, kind of things that we learned during that first year and then the year leading up to it, preparation for making that big jump from a medium-sized city to a super city. We came from Western New York, Rochester, go Bills, over to New York City. So it was a big difference.
I grew up in Ohio and moved to Rochester when I was 22. It took a while to get here, but I always knew this is where I was supposed to be. And then when Matt and I met in Rochester and started dating, it was just happenstance and wonderful luck that he wanted the same exact thing. From pretty much the moment we started dating on, that's what we started working towards, was getting here. And we ourselves searched YouTube videos and stuff like that to help us prepare for the move. So we want to do our part. If there's anybody else out there like us who's, ready to take the jump and really start working towards getting here, some things you should know before you come and then once you get here.
It goes unsaid, or it probably should go unsaid, but New York City is expensive. One of the most expensive cities in the United States to live. I think San Francisco is number one, with New York City close behind. When I talk about expensive, everything is expensive.
Yeah, not just the rent.
No, I mean, that goes without saying. The rent is obviously going to be expensive. You start looking for apartments and you're going to find that right away. Normal things you do in an everyday just are different. Buying ketchup, mustard, peanut butter,
Paper
crackers,
products.
paper towels, toilet paper, things that you just need to live, especially if you're going to be going the convenience route where things are close. The further out from the city you get, the lower the prices would be. So I'd say if you do have the time, go out to Queens, Brooklyn, another one of the boroughs, and try to find lower cost options. But I was definitely very surprised the first time I went grocery shopping, and we lived and breathed Wegmans in Rochester, New York. Further away from home you get, the lower the prices are. So venture out.
Matt was promoted at when he started at Rochester and was promoted from within. So when we moved here, he had a job set up. I'm still in school. So moving here, I did not have a job set up. So I started immediately trying to look for a job, and it's very competitive. I know for experience that I was always kind of a big fish in a small pond. I had good credentials. I, worked hard. I was going to school. I always felt like I was a little bit ahead of the game in some instances, and pretty much every time I put in for a job, I at least got an interview. And usually if I had an interview, I got the job. And then I moved here and I wasn't even getting calls. People would just immediately reject my resume. It was very jarring because I was not prepared for that. My resume, I think, was 2.5 pages long, and I was told that if it was over a page long, they threw it out. So there's little things you can do to get yourself ready for the job market. I was looking for entry-level jobs, and I feel like that's going to be seriously competitive because there's a lot of us here trying to do that. There's 8 million people that are something that live just in Manhattan, and I was fighting against a lot of them trying to get an entry-level office job. And I went to a temp agency, and they found me temp jobs. And the first one I worked at, I tried really hard and I proved myself, and they hired me on as a full-time employee. So it might not look the way you thought it was going to look, but go with the flow and just realize that it's going to be very competitive. So do whatever you can to try and stand out, and don't be afraid to ask for advice. I knew I wasn't getting those jobs, but I just wanted their insight. And a lot of people will help you if you just take the time to ask.
You're going to be overwhelmed when you get here. There's a lot of things going on. There's a lot of action. There's a lot of events. So be ready to be overwhelmed with the amount of activities and options that you have. We would come here before for just weekend trips, or we would plan it and plan it and plan it. remember the last time we were here, we had a list of like 6 things we wanted to do, and we were running to everything. You want to try to get everything out of it that you can when you're here for a limited amount of time, but if you're here and this is your home now, relax. You have time.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of things to do, but you don't have to do them all on the same day. You won't be able to. So.
And if you're anything like us, we were kind of a little bit indecisive sometimes. So, you know, it's the whole, what do you want for dinner tonight? Well, when you live in Rochester or any type of smaller city, it's like, well, you have your normals, you have this and that, and these are your restaurants to choose from. You could literally have anything you've ever wanted here at any time. And it's just sometimes it's a little overwhelming, the amount of choices you have if you're not great at making decisions. It's gaining your new favorites. So we didn't know. I mean, you have reviews and stuff like that you can read, but you know, we had to find a new pizza place and a new Chinese restaurant that we really loved, and all these things that you had set up in other places. It's going to take time to develop those.
Yeah, we're still looking for a Chinese place.
Yeah.
We settled on Panda Express, but we know that's not where we want to end up. So if you have any suggestions for Chinese places in New York, you know, put it down below.
Yeah, please.
Anywhere.
Because we're not going to be we're not going to be living in this neighborhood. We live in Hell's Kitchen, by the way.
Yeah.
But we won't be living in this neighborhood forever. So anywhere in the city, please tell us.